All right, ladies and gentlemen, people of Waushara County, whoever else might be watching, let's talk about addiction again real quick. One thing with addiction is it's a very selfish thing, right? We all know that. People who are in active addiction make terrible choices because it helps them and nobody else, because they don't consider nobody else. But what people don't consider is the recovery aspect of it, right? And what these programs teach people. And unfortunately, what every program I've ever been to, or anyone I know has ever been to, what it teaches them is you are this defective, defunct individual, and you will never be nothing better than that. All you can do is figure out a way to control your negative urges to use drugs, to avoid having to take life on life's terms, right? Got a car going by. So, why is that a bad message? Well, it's a bad message because you want people in these treatment programs to become better people, right? You want them to strive for and to work towards being a better individual. But how can they do that if you're telling them the whole entire time that you're never going to be a better individual? All you can do is be this same messed up piece of garbage that everyone in society is going to hate, and you're going to have to overcome this for the rest of your entire life and just deal with it. Well, that's bullshit. I don't agree with that. Because, for a fact, if you become a drug addict or you fall into addiction, yes, addiction will be a part of your life for the rest of your life. But we all grow and we all become different as we grow and as we evolve, right? As we become different people through different experiences, and one of those experiences would be our addiction, and then how you rebound from that, right? So you don't always be that same person. You're not always going to be a defective degenerate that society looks down on. That's not true. And I think it's a disservice for them to tell people that. Because why are you going to take your recovery seriously and try to be different if they tell you you're never going to be different? What that does is that already plants the seed in your head for failure. It plants the seed in your head for next time because you know there's going to be a next time. Or it's more than likely going to be a next time, right? And that's ridiculous. It's setting people up for failure. I think the recovery programs need to change, and their target, the target that they're trying to get you to reach needs to change. The message they're trying to convey needs to change. Telling someone you're never going to be more than garbage is convincing them to not even try. Just follow our program. Do what we say and you will be better. No. Recovery is a very personal endeavor for each and every person who has to go through it. Yes, there's guidelines and outlines and things that you could follow. I did so when I went through DAC. I followed their outline, right? And it helped me. It gave me a point of reference. It gave me something to work off of, right? Which was a very good thing. It was necessary for me to have to go through that. Sorry, my phone's not cooperating. Well, I'm sideways, but it is what it is. So, it gave me somewhere to start, right? Like, it helped me think cognitively and identify the triggers that I have and identify the defects that I have that allowed me to get to that point. Now, I was sober, clean for over a decade. I've recently commented on things or replied to people's comments on things. Yeah, when my wife fell apart, so did I. That was my world. Her and my children were my world. I couldn't stand watching my world fall apart again. I fell apart. After almost 12 years in recovery, right? Like, I drank and I was smoking weed, but I wasn't doing drugs. I wouldn't even take my pain meds when I was going through my surgery. recovery from my surgery, right? So, and part of the reason I was able to do that is because I cut out absolutely everybody around me who was involved in that, or who would put pressure on me to be involved in that. And another thing I did was I understood that it's on me, right? The onus is on me. I needed to decide I'm never going to do that again, regardless of whatever it takes. No 12-step program could get me there. No recovery coach could get me there. No counselor could get me there. It was all on me. I had to come to this determination on my own, by myself. And once I made that determination in my brain, I was able to stay off of it. Yeah, it was lonely. I had to cut a lot of people out of my life because they weren't ready to get off the stuff. Well, at the end of the day, that's their problem, not mine, because it made me a better person. So I think the recovery programs and things that we have in our society need to be completely redone, because right now it appears like they're set up to boost recidivism rates, right? Or to at least keep the recidivism where it is, to give people no other option but to continue to act this way. Whereas if we were to tell them and to profess to them, listen, the only way this works is if you decide it absolutely has to work and you will not go back, regardless of whatever the cost is. And then you have to wait for them to make that decision. Because the number one thing with recovery is you will never recover. You will never get over your addiction until you want to. The hitting rock bottom thing is mostly true. You don't always have to hit rock bottom. Some people you don't have to. I did, but I'm not saying I had to. And it doesn't mean everybody else has to either. It's all the power of mind. It's all a matter of mind over matter. Willpower. You had the willpower to go out there and commit crimes and lie and cheat and steal and do whatever in order to get those drugs and use them for whatever you use them for, right? You exercised willpower and self-control and directing oneself on a task and achieving that goal. And the goal was to get high, to get those drugs. So why can't you take that same tenacity, that same conviction that allowed you to get high and use those drugs and use it to stay off of those drugs? That's what I did. So I don't know, these are my thoughts. I think it needs to start at the level, wherever they design these programs at and implement these programs and put them in place, it needs to be reevaluated because they don't work. How many times has somebody in your family, or you maybe, whoever's watching, relapsed? 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 times. Dead because they didn't get clean. It's all a matter of willpower. Yes, the 12 steps help, and yes, the information through these programs help, but the primary thing that they convince you of in these programs is you will never be nothing more than an addict. But if you follow our program, you can be a good addict. And that's bullshit. So anyway, just food for thought. I hope people think about it, start discussing it. Let me know if you're a social worker, anybody watching this, anybody who has any sort of sway at all where we can try to bring people together and have talks on how we can revamp this system. Please comment on it or message me and let me know, because it's 100% necessary that we do something, because this drug epidemic that's destroying our country will never change until we decide we want to change it. Thanks. Have a good day.